Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Shifty's 49ers Talk. In today's video, we are going to preview the Week 1 matchup. Yes, football is back. The Week 1 matchup with the New York Jets traveling to the San Francisco 49ers for Monday Night Football. Does it get better than that? I don't think so. Let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. Yes, the 49ers are hosting the New York Jets to open up the 2024 season. Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh led New York Jets, and it really doesn't get much better than this. The only downside is that it's on Monday night, so that compared to fans of most other teams, we have to wait an extra day. But beyond that, really can't ask for much more for a game, for a matchup to kick off a new season. When we look at this matchup, there are a lot of really interesting things to talk about. But before we get into some of those, let's talk about some of the news surrounding both of these teams. The New York Jets, the big news there, Haason Reddick, the edge rusher who they traded for from the Philadelphia Eagles, he's looking for a new contract, still holding out, still not at practice at all, especially as of the recording of today's video, which is the 4th of September, Wednesday, still not practicing, and that is a potentially big loss for the Jets. We all know from Robert Saleh, his defense success is predicated on getting after the opposing quarterback with your four-man rush. Not having Haason Reddick there, who would be their most talented guy, that puts a lot of pressure on some other players to step up quickly. Some news for the 49ers. We all know, and if anyone's been following the news, Trent Williams back. He's going to be practicing. He should be good to go. Brandon Ayuk, he signed his extension, so that's great news. Christian McCaffrey is practicing, so that's awesome. I think there are some question marks surrounding Talanoa Hufanga, coming off of that injury. How much will he go? That's going to be something we'll talk about. But overall, the 49ers, you really took care of business. One thing on a quick aside that I want to say is just an awesome news that Ricky Pearsall is recovering, and the incident wasn't fatal, of course, and that it wasn't life-threatening, and that he's doing a lot better. So shout out to Ricky Pearsall, and obviously I hope he takes all the time that he needs to get back before he starts playing football again, because that's a crazy thing to go through. It sounds like he's doing pretty well, but just want him to take as much time as he needs, and I just wanted to get that out there. But moving on, I think this is such an interesting matchup, because the way I look at it is, one side of the ball, we have what we know, and then the other side is what we don't know. So looking at the side that we know the 49ers offense. We know Brock Purdy, Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey, the offensive line for the most part, and Kyle Shanahan, and we know that we can move the ball. This offense was really, really good last year, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be just as good or maybe even better this year. Brock Purdy having the full offseason where he can practice, where he can throw, and it looks like he's built up strength. So by all accounts, he should be able to take his game maybe to another level as well. You got Jawan Jennings back. I really like how rookie Jacob Cowing is looking. So this offense is primed for another big year, but they are running into a behemoth when you look at this New York Jets defense. And the Jets defense, we know all about it. They have all-pro, Pro Bowl guys at each level of their defense. You talk Quinnen Williams, you talk Quincy Williams, C.J. Mosley, Sauce Gardner, D.J. Reed, Michael Carter, who they just extended, and this defense is loaded. And I think it's going to be just a massive give and take. Typically early on in the season, I think defenses have the advantage. It doesn't take as long to maybe get acclimated to one another. But I think this is somewhat mitigated by the fact that the 49ers offense is coming back. It's basically the same 11 guys. The only one that's different is going to be starting right guard Dominic Puni, who we drafted in the 3rd round, who had an amazing preseason and just solidified himself this quickly to be the starting right guard. If you look at a concern for the 49ers offense, it's definitely right tackle Colton McKivitz. I think that the Jets, with their 4-man pass rush, they're going to try and line up Jermaine Johnson. They're going to try and line up Will McDonald over him to try and get after Brock Purdy. I think you'll see a lot of stunts. I think you'll see Saleh throw a lot of different things at the right side of this 49ers offensive line. You have a rookie in Puni. And then you have McKivitz, who's, let's just say, not the greatest right tackle in the world. So we know what to expect, I think, from the Niners offense and the Jets defense. The one thing which we really don't know is when you flip that. So the Jets offense, we don't know how it's going to look with Aaron Rodgers. You have Nathaniel Hackett back as offensive coordinator. A lot of guys back. Offensive line, they've shuffled some things around, bringing in Tyron Smith, the longtime veteran who's an amazing player when he's at his healthiest. He's going to be going, of course, but there's so many question marks too. How is Aaron Rodgers going to look? He hasn't played a competitive football game really, when you think about it, in 18, 19 months or so. He played 4 snaps against Buffalo, then he was done. We don't know how he's going to look with the Jets in this new environment. And although he's been there for a while, it's going to be new. On game day, different guys on the sidelines around you. They have great weapons in Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. Let's make no mistakes about that. But beyond that, some question marks. Mike Williams kind of fell off big time with the Chargers. We don't really know what to expect from him in this type of offense. How is it all going to mesh together? Will it take some time, or will they hit the ground running? I could see either happening because we know how good Aaron Rodgers is. A big question mark, though, is how good is he going to look coming off the Achilles injury at that age? How will he look when he starts taking some hits in this game? It's going to be, we're going to have to wait and see, and we're going to find out. Then you look at the 49ers defense, and there are some question marks here. I think a big thing is new defensive coordinator Nick Sorensen. The last few years we had Steve Wilks, who was a longtime guy who's been around the NFL, coached in the NFL, so we kind of knew he would do a good to solid job, and that's what he did. Before that, we had D'Amico and Robert Saleh, so the defense has been in good hands for a long time. It's a bit of an unknown with Nick Sorensen. I think something that gives me hope for Nick Sorensen is the fact that we've been able to identify young up-and-coming defensive coaches since the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch era began in San Francisco. Bringing in Robert Saleh, who became a really good defensive coordinator and head coach. Then, promoting D'Amico Ryans, same story there. Really good defensive coordinator, doing a good job in Houston. So I have faith that they're able to identify good defensive coaches. And the Niners, let's face it, we do have a lot of talent on this defense. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, they lead the way, backed up with a really solid secondary. Mooney Ward, really good. Deommodore Lenoir. NFL fans who don't know about Lenoir, they're going to find out about him this year. He's been really, really good. He's going to play on the outside, in the nickel spot when they're going 3 wide receivers. Jair Brown, I think, is poised for a big breakout year at safety. Came on strong, had an interception in the Super Bowl. A big question mark, though, for the 49ers will be Talanoa Hufanga coming off that injury. How will he look? Will he be able to roam around the field like before? Will he feel comfortable? Will it mentally affect his game coming off of that knee injury? How many snaps will he play? How aggressive will he be? Because that's a big part of his game, is being really, really aggressive. So that's a big question mark. And of course, how is it going to look with Nick Sorensen? Something that does give me a lot of hope as well, though, is you look at the defensive line when you look at the addition of Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd is probably the best pass rusher opposite Nick Bosa that we've had since Dee Ford. And Dee Ford rarely was healthy, but when Dee Ford was out there, they were just a lethal combination. And I think Leonard Floyd, who's been very healthy, who's hit double-digit sacks for multiple years in a row, I think that's going to be a really good pairing. I want to see Javon Hargrave have a big bounce-back season with the 49ers. Wasn't great, wasn't awful, but wasn't great in his first year, but I think could be poised for a big second year. Like Malik Collins, he made this ridiculous play in preseason where he tossed 2 Raiders guys to the side, made the tackle. Really like his game, and overall I think it's going to be just a really tough matchup when you look at both of these teams. Fairly evenly matched, and it is funny to see that we have one side that we a lot of questions that we kind of have answers to, but then the flip side is there's a lot of the other side of the ball where we just are going to have to wait and see what happens, because we really don't know. I think when you look at special teams, the Jets have the advantage there, though. Love Thomas Morstead as a punter, really good, but Xavier Gipson as a return man, and we know that there's these new return rules, so how is that all going to play out? I think the Jets have the advantage there, so that's going to be a big thing and a good thing to keep an eye on. Something, although I'm not necessarily a fan of this change to the kickoff rule, it is going to be interesting to see how it all works out, and maybe what we'll see week 1. And here's perhaps an advantage for both teams here is all the Niners and the Jets will get to see 15 other games where teams implementing different things for this return game. And so maybe it gives the Niners and the Jets maybe ideas what to do, how to defend it, how to attack it, just some things to throw out there. With the 49ers, though, here's what I expect the Niners to do and how they attack the Jets. It's going to be a heavy dose of the run game. Last year, the Jets were 25th against the run. They were top 3 against the pass, and it's not surprising when you look at Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, and they had a good pass rush, too, with their really good defensive line. They have good linebackers who can cover tight ends. But can we get after and really make positive chunks of yards on the ground and control the game? Of course, we have Christian McCaffrey. He is coming off a calf injury, so I think they might lean a little bit more on the backup running back, which will be Jordan Mason in this game. I think he'll maybe get, I would imagine, maybe 7-8 carries, maybe some of those goal line carries, those carries that are just like really tough physical running. Maybe they put it more in the hands of Mason compared to CMC, just to give McCaffrey just a little bit of time so he's not getting crazy wear and tear from the get-go in the season. But if I'm the 49ers, I'm attacking with the run, then you hit him on play action, a lot of misdirection, try and get the ball into the hands of Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey with a little bit of space. You, of course, have Ayuk, which I think is going to take maybe a couple weeks because he hasn't been practicing this offseason with the Niners. It's going to take him a couple weeks to build that rapport and chemistry with Brock Purdy. You will take some shots to Ayuk. You have Juwan on third down, but I think Deebo, Kittle, and McCaffrey trying to find ways to get them in space with misdirection after running the football is going to be key. When you look at the defensive side, what do the Niners need to do? Leonard Floyd, Nick Bosa, they need to make their mark on this game. Yetur Gross-Matos as well, if he can be out there too, maybe on passing downs he kicks inside, and you have Floyd and Bosa on the outside. And it looks like, from the preseason at least, Nick Sorensen not afraid to send some blitzes. So, of course, you want to pressure Aaron Rodgers. You want to get him running around, see how that ankle is, force him into some mistakes with players that he's not necessarily used to playing with. So I do think that it's going to be a really close matchup. I think the Jets are a fantastic team. And I think if Rodgers stays healthy, you could argue they are the best team in the AFC East potentially. So it should be a great matchup. Now, when it comes to a prediction here, I'm going to say the 49ers win this game. I'm going to have the 49ers winning, I'm going to say 27-23. I think it's a close matchup, back and forth. Both teams will have big plays on either side of the ball, and it's just really exciting to see this matchup, and I just can't wait to see how it all works out. But also just can't wait to see football and real football, regular season football. It's going to be such a good time. I'm so excited to live stream the game, and I hope you guys will join me for that. Do leave your comments below. Let me know your thoughts on this matchup, what you expect from this matchup, things that you maybe agree with me, things that I maybe missed. But there is going to be fireworks on week 1 of the NFL season across the NFL, and I'm absolutely here for it. But there you have it, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all the good stuff. I'm going to head on out of here, but before I do, I'm going to say the 2 things. The butt counts, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.